Hi guys, welcome back to Nailed It. Happy Thursday, Thursday. How are we? I hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Mine was my Christmas weekend. Oh, it was bloody lovely. I put my first tree up in my first house. Oh my god, the emotion. Well, let me tell you. Wow. Don't know why, because I'm not due on, soz, TMI, but I was so bloody emotional. I was really, really overcome with emotion. Don't know what it is recently. I'm a bit of a ball of it, so we allow it. But we move. I put my tree up. I will put a picture in at the photo dump after this episode. But yeah, it was just really magical. We put some Christmas decks up at home. It was just really, really cute. We loved it. We went to a late night shopping last week in my fellow's hometown, this little village called Longridge. And they have like all the shops stay open till late. There's all the Christmas stalls and food and drinks. And we bought some cute little bits. We had a few bevs. And then we went head first into weekend feeling very festive. It was really nice. I did put a post on my Instagram, but for the last 4 years, basically since my dad died, I have not felt Christmassy in the slightest. Christmas in my house used to be the biggest deal. Like when I was growing up, me and my brothers, even when my brothers knew and I didn't, everyone very much kept the magic alive because there is quite a big age gap between me and my brothers. And yeah, it was a really big deal. It was always, not even in a big-headed way, because we did not have the money. We didn't have a pot to piss in, but even if it was like £1 shop stuff, the couch was always full. Like, it was just made this huge deal. My dad would come in our bedrooms every morning, up until the age of me being 20. So I was 20 when I had my last Christmas. That I don't know was my last Christmas, but we move. We'll cover that trauma soon. One thing you're going to learn about me, I make a hell of a lot of jokes to try and mask trauma. Mainly my grief. But yeah, I'm a humour girly. I'm a dark humour girly, and I'm a humour to cope girly. So you'll get to grips with that one, and hopefully we all accept it and we love it. But anyway, my dad used to come in our room and be like, he's been. Me didn't sleep on Christmas Eve until I was about 18, 19 and started going boozing on Christmas Eve. It was very much a big deal. And we'd all race downstairs, go to the couch, all your presents would be there. It'd be this huge thing. And obviously, prior to my dad dying, I'm covering this like it's the grief episode, but don't worry. It's coming. Whether I want it or not. But it was, and we will talk about it more in that episode, but when my dad passed, like, obviously, it was a huge deal. Nothing had happened to me prior than that. You have an odd breakup, the family dog dies, which at the time is the biggest deal in the world, but nothing that... I'm just going to lower the mic. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before. Nothing big, nothing drastic, nothing that you don't learn to live with. So that really rocked me and my family, and it changed everything, naturally. It changed how we did everything. Birthdays, Christmases, social events. My dad was a huge personality, and I'm getting deep here, I need to save it. But yeah, Christmas looked really, really different for us. Now, the first Christmas was definitely, because it was the first one, I feel like straight after something like that happens, everyone bustles round you and you get a lot of attention and focus. Not attention, but you get a lot of focus, a lot of concern. By the way, please ignore the bad tan on my hands. I made the mistake of doing my fake tan and then washing up straight after it without gloves on. So I'm giving ombre, St. Moritz ombre. But it's alright, because we've got a new bottle of Molly May in the drawer. I'm going to tan this weekend. We're going to look great. So let's bypass that one, shall we? But yeah, so the first Christmas it almost didn't feel real. It was also the year that the Gavin and Stacey reunion Christmas special came out. So whilst it was emotional and very sad, we had a lot going on. Do you know what I mean? Still thinking about what Smithy said. But I digress. Following that, it just looked really different. It was really hard to comprehend, your wake-ups being different. The interaction on Christmas morning where he's sat on the couch with a brew and his e-cig hanging out his mouth going, I picked that one. Oh, he likes it. Do you know what I mean? Knowing full well that he didn't. My mum had done everything and my dad just, watched her wrap it and put it in loft. So, like I said, Christmases were looking really different. And to be honest, for the last 4 years, for someone who Christmas has been such a big deal for my whole life, I hated it. I might not have been vocal about it, but I couldn't stand it. I've not felt happy about Christmas in years because it just reminds me of what I've not got. Which sounds awful because in the grand scheme of things, I've got a roof over my head. I wake up every day and I'm fine. I'm healthy, I'm alive. I'm not going through anything drastic, but like, it really highlights at that time, like, the one thing I've not got that I want and that I need. So, yeah, Christmas ain't really been lit, not gonna lie, bar the presents. I've got great gift givers around me. I would say I'm a good gift giver. I love getting presents for people, but I've just struggled with it for obvious reasons. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the fact that this year is ending on a high and things that we're going to talk about in this episode, but things in general that I didn't think were going to happen and that I wanted to happen and blah, blah, blah. Things have started to come together. It's not been the easiest year. It's been a pretty shit year, to be fair, but the way the end of it has sort of started to pan out has been gorge, and I'm here for it. The podcast's being part of it. But yeah, so I just felt really in the festive spirit this year. Like, before Friday was the 1st of December last week. First? Yes, it was. I don't know. I can't do the math. I think it was. But on the Thursday, I was coming home from Glasgow with my colleague and I was just gassed. I was like, let's get the Christmas tunes on. I was going for this late night shopping. We bought our tree. We bought our decks. I was like, let's absolutely have it. Glad tidings to you and your king. Like, we're in. So, yeah, I was feeling really, really good about it. And we put our tree up and I bought some little robins for my tree because I have a big thing about... My dad was really into birds, like Bill Oddie style. Birds as in, not women. Anyway. He and I have a really big, like, connection with him on music and animals. But again... Another episode. I need to stop knocking it. My schnoz is getting in the way. So yeah, I have a really big connection with him on that. And I know a lot of people see things like robins as symbolic of those who aren't with us anymore. So I got some robins for the tree and I put them on. And I don't know if it was just like a combination of everything with the fact that we was going to watch The Holiday, which we absolutely did. Think of some more iconic music than that. That is the epitome. That and Sugar Babes Lost in You remind me of Christmas without trying. Do you know what I mean? Because of Love Actually. But it was just really, really nice. And I had like my green Christmas PJs on. We put our tree up. We'd done everything. We had the holiday on. And I just sat on the floor. And my fella was like, are you all right? And I was welling up. And I was like, I'm just doing mine. He was like, okay. He was like, well, there's pines all over the floor. So can you hoover? I was like, yeah, cheers. Thanks for the ball. All the best. But yeah, it was really, really nice. And then we went to the markets twice in a row, 2 weekends on the bounce, unheard of. There was a time that I'd never been to the Christmas markets, ever. Don't mind me. Yeah, I genuinely think the first time I went, I was like 14. Like, which probably is normal for some people, but everyone was like, oh my God, you've not been to the markets? I was like, no. My parents don't mix in those circles. We go to a pub in Norwich. But anyway, now I'm a regular, frequent visitor. And I'm an absolute skank for the Crimble Crumble stall, so I went again. Oh, chills. And then went to a little light trail with my niece. It was just a really wholesome, festive weekend. We saw lots of friends. Just dead cute, dead cute vibes. I was also asked this weekend, not to draw attention to it, but I'm going to say it, if I'd had my teeth done. Compliment 101. No, I haven't, by the way. I had them whitened last year, and I've just been wearing my retainer like a good girly. Because I should have worn it last year when I got it, and I didn't. So then my teeth moved. So then I had to pay 150 quid per top and bottom. That is 300 English pounds for a bit of plastic, but it keeps your teeth in place. But yeah, and I've just been flossing. Didn't realise the importance of flossing, but here we are. Like a good little egg. Big shout out to Kiss Dental, to be fair, in Manor. They helped me overcome my fear. Since the age of about 16, 17, I never went to the dentist. I avoided it like the plague because you would go. Number one, you had to start paying for it. I was like, no, I would rather not. I'd rather have a new dress and a frock to go out in town with someone else's ID. So but you'd lie there and then jab at you and poke in your bloody mouth and then go, oh, you need a filling. Like, damn right I need a filling. It's on end of your scalpel that you just rammed into my back molar. Of course I need a pissing filling. So one did avoid it. But yeah, we moved. And I also had a bit of a traumatic experience as a child. I had a lot of teeth removed. Because obviously for someone who loves talking and has a big as gob as this, I had lots of teeth in it. And they weren't letting my adult teeth come through. So you can imagine the horror of me, aged, I think I was about 10 or 11. I know I was sat in a pink High School Musical 2 tracksuit in Preston Hospital, being told I had to have 10 teeth taken out. And I was like, I can't do it. They put me to sleep and 5 minutes later, I had a mouthful of gum. It was great. I was just pulling blood clots out of my mouth because I didn't really know where I was. But anyway, we're off on a tangent. I've overcome my fear ever so slightly. I now go to the dentist at least once, if not twice a year, which is a big step in the right direction given I avoided it for 6 years. And I love it. And now I've got really nice peggies all the time. So yeah, look after your teeth, kids. No ad. Just do it. But yeah, also, can I just say before I get into this episode, I've had some bloody lovely messages from my episode last week, which has made me really happy. I apologise for the lateness of the upload. We had a Wi-Fi situation. Why does my Wi-Fi go down on a Thursday? Like, we've just moved into this area. We've been here now, like, just over a month. Why? I was vexed. I hot-spotted the download on the way home from Glasgow on my mobile, and then I had to go to my fella's parents and upload it at the in-laws. But obviously we was out on the lash, so it was 10 o'clock by the time it went live. So for someone who's meant to upload on a Thursday based on what the people want, I ended up uploading really late. So it was a Friday morning listen. So I do apologise. We're going to be prompting on it this week, guys. So one of the messages I did get, which I thought was really lovely and made me happy, was actually from one of my friends. So I'm sorry to go back on last week's episode. It's just a brief recap. But I got a lot of messages. So obviously, like, when I first started dancing in heels, I wasn't great. The balance wasn't there. But I recorded it to watch my progress and so on and so on. And you'll see some of my dance clips on the gram this week. And I've obviously posted ones that look half decent. I actually couldn't find some of my older ones where I was a bit shite. Very shite, never mind a bit. But if I find any, I will put them on. I've got 2 phones. Not a dealer. One work, one personal. But the videos are across both, so I will try and dig some out. However, I did get, as I got better and I posted stuff on my story and things like that, I did get loads of messages from people that obviously complimenting me. I got messages from friends like, wow, like, bloody hell, you're confident. Wish I was that confident, blah, blah, blah. Wish I could come. I was like, bloody come then. What's stopping you? Like, I went on my own. I ended up meeting loads of new friends. All the girls are sound as hell. Come. You don't have to dance in heels if you don't want. Dance in trainers, dance in bare feet. I do it all the time. Just come down. Obviously, I managed to drag a couple, kicking and screaming. They came and they loved it and they were amazing, obviously, because why not? And then some didn't. But one of my friends, Thea, did message me and want to come, and she never ended up coming, but she's just moved to Manchester, and I saw her today post on her Instagram, because I'm filming this one a bit late. But she did post on her Instagram a video of herself dancing at this heels class. Oh my God, she looked amazing. Bloody amazing. But it was just great. Like, I live for seeing other people's videos and my own. I love watching it back and looking how far we've come. So to see that, it was really, really nice. And the thing that she said that made me really happy, I've wrote it down here, was that the podcast inspired her. Look at me doing what I set out to do. But that just made me really, really happy. I absolutely loved it. And the other message I got the other day, which was really nice, one of my friends, Abby, one of her dancing friends, messaged her and said, quote, does Emily Naylor still dance at Koala? Currently spend my breaks watching her podcast. It's my new favourite thing. Sorry? Give me a minute. I love that. These are people I don't know. Like, I don't know who that girl is. That's so, if you're listening, Gilllll, big love. Thank you, Queenie. More people like that in the world. She didn't have to say something nice. She didn't know me from Adam. But I just thought I was bloody lovely. So it really made my day. So yeah, anyway, enough of that. This week's episode is all about being what I call the 4-year-old adult. Technically 5, as I keep reminding myself, sadly. I have such a fear of ageing and getting close to the age that I will die at, because in my head I'm going to live till I'm 152, obviously. If they invent a pill for that, best believe I will be taking it. That's a different episode again, I can assure you. But yeah, I do want to talk about sort of how we go from being like carefree teens where, you know, you're necking cider in the park and your biggest fear is, you know, kissing someone at a house party and where you're going to get your pack of fags from, to adulthood. How shit gets real fast. We go from not really giving a shit to feeling lost and feeling like you're sometimes not succeeding because you're not winning all the time. And yeah, if you're not constantly winning in life. So my most recent feeling of that is actually what spurred me on to create the podcast and like make the Instagram and everything, and just thinking like, you know, fuck it, let's do it. What have I got to lose? I need to do it. So I'm really glad about that. But obviously while I was feeling it, I didn't feel great. So I want to talk all about how, you know, young adults in this day and age and the subconscious pressures that we put on ourselves without even realising, the comparisons that we make to what we see on social media, people around us. You know, we look at people who, you know, Queen M, we love her, she is my role model, but that lifestyle for the average Joe Bloggs who works at Asda isn't necessarily achievable. So it is those types of things. You know, the goals that we set for ourselves and whether we do or don't achieve them, and how we then speak to ourselves following that. And just overall sharing a bit of my own experience and trauma on dealing with that and how it's affected me and my mental health and what it did for like the relationships surrounding me, etc. So hopefully anyone feeling the same way, you're a bit lost or you feel like you're in the wrong place currently, you can take something from it and we can all learn how to continue navigating with not being there yet, wherever there is. So yeah, let's get into it. I hope you enjoy, guys. So guys, we are kicking off the episode with some of the polls that were on my Instagram, along with, I'm going to drop it later, but I finally got some feedback. I got asked for advice, and the girl got her first writing. Can I get an amen? We're moving in the right direction. It is growing. I'm happy. Anyway, I will share that one later with you. But I did put 2 polls out when I was talking about the episode and what it was going to entail. So the first question was, have you ever felt like you're in the wrong place in life based on your age? I got 45 votes for yes and 2 votes for no. The next one, have you ever compared yourself to others around you, either on social media or even your friends? I got 43 yes and 4 no. Number 1, it actually amazed me how many voted yes, because it just highlighted the fact that, number 1, the feelings that certainly I had been feeling, it made me feel a little bit more normal, selfishly. And but it also shocked me that how many blokes I got voting as well as the girlies. So that was nice, and it just shows that I'm a woman who's here for everyone, not just tailored to one audience, you know. But yeah, I was chuffed with that and surprised all at the same time. Anyway, it's something that I've personally struggled with myself. I would say probably around about the age of 21, it began to kick in for me. That's when I felt like I'd become like a proper, you know, young adult. Again, I don't know if my dad passing had anything to do with that, bundled in with the pandemic. It all sort of happened around the same time for me. So I lost my dad in the September, turned 21 in the November, we hit the Panny D in March. So it was a lot in a short space of time, and spending 3 months indoors, being the only one not furloughed on my team. I had a team of about 8 people at this point, by the way. And also dealing with major grief and not really knowing how to navigate through it. It was not the one, I can assure you. Obviously, I think everyone who lived through the pandemic shared a lot of similar feelings. You know, some people moved in with the partners or with different people because they didn't want to be on their own. Some didn't see people for prolonged periods of time. I think everyone suffered in different ways, obviously, taking death out of the equation, which is the obvious one. I think especially for the elderly and for sort of the 16 to 25 year olds, basically the overs category, I'm X Factor, I think we suffered a lot socially. and what we lost in that. And I think a lot of people's mindsets have been massively affected because of that. Because I didn't live with my partner at the time, you know, we was 21, we was actually still babies, but my brain wasn't processing that at the time. I felt like we should have been living together, you know, that we weren't in the right place for our time of life and for our age. When I was seeing other people doing this, like, oh, they've just moved in together because they don't want to be apart. I was like, oh, should we be doing that? Why are we not doing that? Started really like getting to myself about it and getting really within my own head. And I built a lot of resentment to us not living together during that time. Albeit, again, my rationale is, you know, we'd only been together 18 months. We were absolute babies. We were 21. But, you know, where was that rationale when I needed it? Where were you? We needed you, queen. But we moved. Anyway, fast forward. I'm going to use one specific example to sort of explain how I've navigated being a 4-year-old adult. But one of the biggest pressures I put on myself was the need to move out and have my own place and be in that next chapter of life with my partner. Obviously, once my dad died, life dramatically changed, especially at home. You know, my relationships changed, how we all acted and navigated, and how life naturally, whether you like it or not, does move on. All of that really had a really negative effect on me. I used to live at home in a happy little bubble with my mum and dad and like my brother sporadically when like they both moved out, moved back, etc. So to go from that and having like the happiest normal ever versus what I then ended up with, it was just, I can't tell you the amount of like emotional suffering I went through because of that. So anyway, because of my living situations and my relationship within the house, that, you know, life had dramatically changed. I wanted out. On top of, you know, in the pandemic, property was super cheap. I wanted to live with my partner. And I was essentially running before I could walk. I was on a solo mission at that, let me tell you. So my way of navigating it was, at the time, I cleared my debts and started saving hard. Now, that was a good thing. That was a great thing for me, house or no house, because I got out of debt. I was in a lot of debt. That's another episode. But, you know, I managed to put myself in a really good headspace. So that was great to navigate through that. After a lot of back and forth and conversation, me and my partner did actually have a discussion, and we figured out, you know, that we both wanted the same thing, which was great. We're on the same page-ish. It was just getting there. We decided a figure that we wanted to save, and we began saving. And we wanted to get that together before we actually went and viewed anywhere. So, like, for me, I'd gone and viewed a house that day for no good, with 20p in my bank account, you know, knowing it wouldn't happen. And I didn't realise how much, again, that was having a negative effect on my mindset, looking at things that I genuinely knew were unattainable. But anyway, we live and learn. So we started saving, made sure we had a deposit so that we could crack on. And it so happens at the beginning of 2023, that was the point for us. So the beginning of this year. So, you know, we saw a mortgage advisor, we realised our budget and our limits. We got a mortgage in principle, and we were like, boom, this is going to be a year. The top goal on my 2023 list is to go back to Australia and go to New Zealand and to get a goddamn house. And then host Christmas, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. So have my goals list, you know, my pressure cooker. So yeah, and then we actually started looking, and fuck me, what a shitter. Like, there's no point in me trying to sugarcoat it. The process was not easy for so many reasons. My situation is this. We're not from the same place or close by. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it's only actually 20 miles and half an hour in a car. But compared to a lot of the people around us and other people that were in a situation of looking to buy a house, like a lot of our friend couples, they're from the same place or very close by, you know. They knew where they were moving to. They'd grown up there, blah, blah, blah. They weren't leaving something they knew to go to somewhere they didn't know, which is exactly what was the situation for us. And I thought I was over it. My partner definitely wasn't. But it was, I didn't really give it enough credit for how much that was going to affect the pair of us. I kind of just expected it to fall into place. So, you know, we're moving away from both our stomping grounds, everything we know. It was just weird, you know, it wasn't it. And that caused its own stress and problems. We must have viewed over 30 houses in total over the course of 8 months before we nearly chucked the towel in. Do you know what I mean? It was really, really heavy. The frustration of viewing something online, thinking it was amazing, walking in somewhere, me being over keen, I've already done the floor plan and planned out where my future child's bedroom's going to be, only to walk out and my partner go, don't like it. It was the worst, you know, you just felt like you're going back to square one constantly. But imagine that, just repeat and repeat and repeat. On top of that, obviously, the longer it goes on and the less successful you are, naturally, you start talking to yourself negatively. You're having doubts. You're doubting the situation. You're doubting if this is actually the right thing for you. You're thinking, oh, is it meant to be? What does the universe want for me? Your head naturally starts going to those places. You question each other. You compare yourself to others and those around you, which was my biggest thing. That was the thing that affected me the most, was comparing our situation to other people. And the goal I had in my head, because I was of a particular age and I had a particular lump of money and a particular goal to achieve, looking at other people around me, that's where I was putting the most pressure on myself. And it was so damaging when I look back at it. But like I said, we learn. I was just, you know, looking at some of my mates who've been in their own gaff for a while and how happy they are. And I just wanted that. It was torture. Like, as happy as I was for them, I just wanted to be there too, like, with them. And it were almost making me feel like I was, like, just far behind and a bit of a loser, which is so stupid, again, now when I look at it. Now that I have to do my own washing and ironing, I think, who's the real loser? It's me. But anyway, I put myself in such a mindset that, you know, my happiness was only going to come from us getting a house and being in that place. But it was, and I made it a bigger issue than it ever needed to be. It obviously doesn't help as well. Obviously, the longer things go on and the more you talk to people, because naturally you want to share things that you're excited about. People ask you questions, and when you're not hitting the goals that you set out for yourself, you know, people chip their opinions in as they do. And it's, you know, it's your close ones, it's your loved ones, it's your friends and family. And, you know, they've got your best interests at heart. And then, you know, they start planting seeds of doubt with you. Oh, maybe it's not the right thing. Maybe it's not meant to be. Before you know it, you're in the fucking bin emotionally. You can't process and comprehend anything with sense. And it can be really, really damning in that regard. And that leads me on to my next part, which is that, for me, comparison is a thief of joy. And there's never been a truer statement, in my opinion. Now, I can categorically say, for as long as I can remember, I've not been a jealous friend. I'm not. I will be your biggest fan, your biggest cheerleader. I don't project those feelings onto the people around me, or at least I don't think I do. But I've always been so proud of my friends and, you know, their achievements. But watching my friends have what I wanted didn't make me jealous. It just made me feel really sad. And like I said, like I was a little bit of a loser, because, as I said, it was all that I wanted. And I'd literally become obsessed and fixated on getting a house with my partner. Because in my head, that was the resolution to all my problems. It was a resolution to my relationships at home being broken. It was a resolution to me being happy again. It was the resolution to our long distance, all them things, like I said. And I just wished it was me. Do you know what I mean? You know, I wanted to be in Dunelm, picking me cushions, buying a washing line. I wanted to be in Next, buying a kettle and a toaster, you know. I just wanted it. That's where I wanted to be. However, the outlook I now have is this, upon reflection to this situation. And when I did actually first write and plan this episode, this was one of the first 10 episodes I planned back in the summer, like July, August. I wasn't where I am now, so I didn't actually have a house. But one of the things I thought about was, you know, like, what's the reality of the situation? Like, yes, the end goal of seeing people around me living in houses and having this happy life and making the tea together every night, it looks good, and that's where I want to be. But then I'm thinking of all the other things. So, you know, would I want to live where they live? Do I want the layout of their house? Have I got the financial stability that they've got? Have I got the income? Have I got the privilege in some cases? And that for me is relative to the house journey. But I would say the same similar types of questions pose themselves in all situations when we're comparing, you know. Yeah, the end result might be what we're striving for, but do we like the journey? Would you enjoy their journey? Will yours be the same or different? It's got to be relative to your situation. One of the other things I realised was having a negative effect on me for this, again, in various situations, but I'm using the same example of the house, is vision and manifestation. Now, I've got some people in my life who are like, manifest it, girl. Manifest it. You want something, manifest it. And I'm a visual girly to the core, honestly. If I don't see it, I can't believe it. I have vision boards. You know, I plan. I dedicate things to that. You know, I have PowerPoints to visualise what I want. And I do believe in manifestation. Do I believe it gets you everything you want just by asking for it? Do I bollocks? As per episode 2. You want something? You better work, bitch. No, for real, albeit another future episode dedicated all to manifestation and my take on it. I definitely believe it's more than just asking for something to happen and believing it'll happen. You've got to do things to get yourself there. However, what I was doing was aligning my life to be somewhere and then not getting there, and then in turn making myself very stressed about not getting there and about the journey and everything that was happening along the way. I was putting an inordinate amount of pressure on myself. And I always say, diamonds are made under pressure. But I think I end up being under pressure a little bit so much. Doing this, putting pressure on a situation I can't control and not getting there did just lead me to disappointment almost daily. And it really, really got me down. My other one, normally we love a girly with a plan, but I sometimes can plan too much. I do believe that is a thing. I'm a planner. I plan like a motherfucker. I love it. We plan my birthday. I say we, the royal we of me and the girlies, but my birthday is planned 3 months in advance because we decide to treat it like the social hotspot of the year. It's really not. Normally it's just all the girls and the boys getting together in a gaff for a few bevs, but we basically act like it's the launch of KKW Beauty. But we move. I've got 3 paper calendars, 2 diaries and another paper printout. I've got a work one, a Teams one. I've got 2 phone calendars. I've got spreadsheets for my expenses, personal and work. I've got spreadsheets for outfits. I had a 68-page PowerPoint on a house I didn't have to map out exactly what I wanted down to the colour of the skirting boards. When you deep it, that actually isn't normal. So it's all nice having a Pinterest board and having a bit of vision and saving a few Instagram posts from what Stacey Solomon's just done on a cottage because you like the paintwork. But fuck me, it was getting a bit much. I am a bit OTT in the things I do. That's just me. But what I didn't account for was how much this was messing me up mentally. I thought that planning and being organised and visualising it were positives, but I didn't realise the negative effect that they were having on me. And that is what I did in this situation. Plan too much, visualise too much, compared too much. And it was a slope only going one way. Not that slopes tend to go upwards, but you get the gist. So, a bit more of a positive spin on things. Let's talk about the here and now and how I've relaxed on the ball. I think the one thing that I did, and I took probably the easiest approach, which is the it is what it is mentality, which really is just that. There is literally only so much in life that you can control. And if something's going to happen, it's going to happen. With all the goodwill in the world, if you're forcing a situation that isn't meant for you, things will keep coming up and roadblocking it until you face the music, whatever that music is. In regards to my specific situation, I did also factor in some of the actual facts, which were that the market wasn't great at the time. There were things I couldn't control. My partner was quite a good realistic tool in that, albeit at the time I just thought he was being a massive bell, but And I did take a massive break from it as well. I stopped looking at houses. I took all my notifications off. Again, getting emails every minute of the day. Property here, property there. It's draining. I bet I looked at 10 houses a day. Boring. And I love houses. I love it. I love going in people's houses. I love looking at kitchens. I'm here for it. But actually looking for yourself, it was soul destroying. So I took a break. Obviously, I went to Australia and New Zealand as well. So that was nearly 5 weeks out there where I didn't even think about it. Just stopped looking. And weirdly enough, now this is one of them stories that's had a happy ending. But there's been plenty that hasn't. And I've just cracked on with it and moved on. But weirdly, after I landed from Australia on the Friday, and the following Saturday, I was in Newcastle with my friends, and my partner went and viewed a house. So we actually went from getting a mortgage to then deciding that we were going to rent. Various reasons, the main one being sort of the area thing that I explained earlier, and obviously to trial living together. I don't think people give enough credit. It doesn't matter how long you've been with someone, living with them is a different ball game, and living with them in your own space, not your mum and dad's. So it's important to trial it. It's a massive commitment. We'd saved up so much money, not to toot my own horn or anything, but we had banks sat there. I weren't about to jump into a mortgage and then potentially it not work out. Don't matter how much you love someone, sometimes you can't live with them. Sometimes love isn't enough. So you know what? People look at things like renting, and I was one of these people who looked at things like that as a trial, it's for the weak. I'm not weak. Well, you know what? I'm not pissing weak, and I'm really glad that we did it this way. But anyway, he went and viewed a house while I was in Newcastle, this house, and within an hour, off a video, might I add, I'd agreed to it and signed a tenancy for 12 months. And it turned out that we were going to rent for 12 months to trial it. And now we're in our own place and it's surreal. And I literally couldn't be happier. And so it did all work out in the end. But like I said, it looks very different to how I actually pictured it. So my end goal of us living together came to fruition. But how I got there and the situation of us living together is very different from what I pictured at the start of the year. So like I said back at the start, your end result might be what you wanted or the same as someone else, but the journey is completely different. But at the same time, when I was feeling all this, when I was feeling negative, positives and, memes and nice quotes were not in sight. They weren't attainable. I didn't want to know. But the positives I did draw at the time prior to us renting were the fact that, I was saving more money. The longer I wasn't in a house with a mortgage, I was saving more money. I had less commitments. If I wanted to drop £100 on an outfit tomorrow, I could do it and I wouldn't bat an eye. I didn't have to pay bills yet. Great news. Do you know what I mean? All these different things. I didn't have to do adult shit, which let me tell you, it's not all it's cracked up to be. For all I wanted it, and it's still the best thing that's happened to me this year, running a house is not easy. And there are things that come with it that I did not realise. And when people say appreciate living at home and appreciate what your parents do for you, it's real facts, let me tell you. I thought my mum was a pedantic pain in the arse until Finn left his first pair of socks on the floor instead of in the drawer, and then it all fell into place. So, yeah, like I said, this is one of those that does have a happy ending, but like I said, there's loads of them times where it hasn't. I've been putting all this pressure on myself and things haven't materialised. Do you want to hear what will be when you're in the moment? Do you fuck? Let's be real. But taking your focus off things and allowing the world to work its magic and do its thing, things can then sometimes pan out in a nicer way, and it can just look different. So, is it okay to not have everything sussed out at this age? Absolutely. Come on. We see people having babies, not having babies, starting their own businesses. Some people I know, or people I went to school with, are engaged or even married, which bewilders me because the thought of being married right now isn't for me. Or is it? No, it isn't. It actually isn't. I'd love to be engaged. But no, it actually isn't. I could not get married right now. I'm like, well, I'm still a baby. But there's no set times or judgments on things that you should hit, Sounds obvious, but we genuinely do all fall victim to other judgments of, what we should and shouldn't do at certain times in our lives. Our parents are sometimes the worst of this, giving it, back in my day, I had my first house by I was 21, I moved out, done this, done that. When I were 18, I'd had kids, right? And what does that mean? As I said a couple of weeks ago, we live in a society that, we're striving for the best for ourselves. And that looks different for everyone. For some people, that's having a family by the age of 21. For some people, that's opening their own business by the age of 25. Everything is different for everyone. Got to keep it relatives. We can't pit ourselves to other people's timeline and goalposts that they've set for themselves. It might not be right for you. Doesn't matter if it's moving out, money, your career, said it before and I say it again, people work the same job for 10 years. They go to uni, they get a degree in something, a doctor of something. And then they get to the age of 35 and they think, I'm fucking miserable, I want to drop this and do something else. What's wrong with that? Who really knows what the right thing is to do until we've done it? You may meet the one when you're 50 rather than 25. I see so many people bogged down that they're still single at a particular age. I've had chats with some of my friends who've been in that situation. Believe me, I've been the single friend before when all your friends around you are in relationships. And it's not easy, but those roles can reverse and change for your whole life. You don't want kids. Who cares? You want 5 babies now. If you can provide for them and be a fit mother or father, then crack on. You know what I mean? Who really gives a fuck? You got to do what's right for you. I was advised on more than one occasion, especially with this house scenario, to lower my expectations. Absolutely not. Do not do that. Big difference between having an open mind and being realistic about your current situation and where you want to get to, and settling for less and lowering your expectations. Do not lower those or your standards to fudge being in a position that is not meant for you. Don't do it. And that is it, guys. I just want to wrap up with my advice section. Need some music for this bit. Like on Girls' Bathroom where they're like, question of the week. That's what I need here. But Somebody wrote in for my advice. I can't believe I'm getting the opportunity for this one, but honestly, please write in, guys, even just to feed my little ego. No, we joke. I love it. I'm just so gassed. So, guys, I got the following DM after I posted. Feeling like a lost baby in an adult world. Get in touch. And I didn't mean for that to sound as condescending as it does now that it's leaving my lips. But we move. I basically said, like, anyone been feeling lost? Hit your gal up, drop something in the DMs. And it did. So, here's what it says. My boyfriend is younger than me and doesn't have the same life pressures I'd have on myself. He's the absolute best company and I don't feel in a rush to do anything specific. I'm happy with being career focused, but I do worry that I will run out of time to do the big things due to being a woman and having a body clock, beauty fades and all that. Heavy. Can I just say, I think you're really brave for speaking out and writing in, by the way, because I think it takes a lot of bollocks, albeit anonymous. I always think once you've said something, you've put it out there and you have to deal with it once you've spoke it aloud, whether it's texted or that's when you have to face it. So yeah, I rate that number one. In this case, I'm seeing, the scenario of maybe feeling like you're potentially in two different places, but you love the person, which is absolutely fine. There's no reason why you can't meet somewhere in the middle. If you've got a level of communication and it's healthy, I imagine this can be discussed and put to bed, but it is crucial that you do that. We all love to pretend to. No one's a mind reader. I wish, but just, never. I genuinely don't believe that there isn't anything that can't be solved with a little bit of good communication. So I would definitely start there. I think it is so hard when we love someone and we have different ideas or timelines on things. That's exactly where I was in that house situation. And I won't lie to you, it nearly come between us a good few times. And it's how you navigate that process. And I'm so glad we stuck it out, but there was times where probably neither of us wanted to, for different reasons. So it's normal. We had different ideas and different paths, even though we had the same end goal. And it was really frustrating, but it can cause the most arguments, honestly. And it is the thing you mentioned about the body clock as well. That is shite, because I do feel like women do feel more pressure in that sense where, you want to be career driven. You want to be all these different things for different reasons. You want a family and a career and this. You want to do Pilates. You want to go to the gym. You want to cook a nice tea. We put a lot on ourselves. And that's not me playing the fucking woman violin. It's just a fact. It is shite. It is what it is. You want someone who's not going to back the girlies. Go to a different podcast, guys. It's just one of them things. But, everyone is different in that. I personally have the mindset of career, friends, relationship, like for now. And then I've set in my head that after 30, I'll go for kids. In my head, I want to be a sales director before I'm 30. I want to be on the top 100 podcasters before 30. But, and then I'll worry about kids. But fuck knows what'll happen. You actually don't know. I know what I'd like to happen. And I know that my partner and I now have some common ground on it. But if I knew how the next 5 years was going to look, then I'd opt for a different career, wouldn't I? Missed it Meg style. I do think small goals are a good start to, small things that you can achieve that are working towards what you want. Even day to day to feel like you're making the right moves. The bump's going to come and go along the way, and throw you off course. How many cringy acronyms can I use in today's episode? TBC. But yeah, I'd map out exactly what you want. I'd discuss it with your partner, air out what your end goal is and ride the wave. Hopefully you've got common ground that you both want to achieve and you can get there together. And like you say, it might look different to what you both envision it. You'll find out different things about yourselves and it'll be really, really nice. So, hopefully it can work out. If everyone planned the journey and expected it to go to the letter, you'd be sadly mistaken. So... But yeah, thank you so much for writing in. I hope my waffle is somewhat contributing to the help. And that's it, guys. That's actually the end. Thank you so much for listening. As always, please like, subscribe, share, follow, repost, all of it. Comment, tell me your woes, your wherefores, everything. Get in touch. If I'm looking a bit wacko, it is because I've just been out and had my eyebrows done. I'm filming the last clip now, but... Look at these brows go. You can't tell me I don't have the best brows in the Northwest. Shout out to Brows by Leone. Great. And a lash lift. Look at these. Pow. Anyway, tune in next week for Grief, Death and Taxes, the Big Black Hole. Yes, we're doing it for all the dead dad jokes I've dropped in, or not dropped in, or references I've made. Next week, we're getting right into it. It's probably going to be uncomfortable. I'm probably going to get emotional. But I do believe, whilst it might be probably one of the hardest things for me to talk about, I think it might help a lot of people. And I'll be real, I like talking about my dad. You know, it keeps him around all the time. So yeah, next week's might be emotion. We might have to do it in stages. But bear with. If anyone would like to get in touch with their own stories, anyone else in the Dad Club, hands up. Don't know if I can say that. Said it anyway. Or parent or relative or someone close to you want to share your side of the story, give us a shout. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoy. Happy Thursday, have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week. Bye guys.